Thank you so much, you guys, for coming out. I'm going to read a story. I'm not reading the story that I had in The Fabulous Fabulous, which I encourage you to buy, Sleepingfish, because it's too depressing. And it was just like not conducive for reading. But so I'm going to read a story that's actually kind of new, so it's a little bit scary to read it, but who cares? And but I have to explain something to you. It's about. This is okay, right? Okay. It's about. Do you guys know Shabu Shabu? Do you guys know that? It's like you can do either. I think there's like Korean and there's Taiwanese Shabu Shabu, where you make your own food basically. Like you have your own. It's like fondue, but it's water, and you cook your own stuff. So everyone knows what that is. Like you have these things embedded in the things. I mean, to me, I had no idea what the hell it was, and so I need to make sure everyone knows. But so this story is called At Shabu Shabu. So these people are cooking their own food and all that. And by the way, just to go off of Rick's thing, it's very short, 4 pages, so don't even like get concerned. At Shabu Shabu. Oh, and I had illustrations today, but I broke my scissors, so I couldn't cut out the illustrations. I was so frustrated, but imagine that I'm holding up shrimp and things like that. At Shabu Shabu. Thomas ordered 2 plates of quail eggs. He knew the term for bird vagina, and this made Hillary think of his ex-girlfriend, who rubberized dead ones she found in the street. Not vaginas, of course, but birds. She rubberized these and placed them under glass. Beautiful things, moist with death. Thomas and Hillary had grown close in their year together, as in, he passed gas freely when in her presence. He implied that he preferred that she did not. She would show decorum, she said, once he showed some chivalry. She implied this meant he paid for Shabu Shabu, so Thomas acquiesced and said, let her rip. At Shabu Shabu, they cooked their own concoction within their own bins of boiled water. At 19, it all roared up. At 32, it all went still. There was logic there, only they didn't get it. The cabbage cooled the water, and then they simply spun the dial. Hillary watched his hand plunk in small eggs, such lovely, scuffed-up, wide-palmed paws, and such darling little eggs. She wondered how the quail felt giving up such perfect things. Everything is perfect, she supposed, if never given the chance to prove itself to be anything but that. Thomas turned to her and smiled. He loved to Shabu Shabu, and she loved to see him happy. She smiled back, but suddenly felt sorry for the eggs and turned away. She focused on her water. It's hard to get it right. Sometimes the vermicelli went in too early and coagulated to make the water less like water, more like phlegm. This was when the Shabu waitress walked on over, full of pity, and poured more water in the bin. And by in the, she meant in hers. It happened every time. It's hard to get it right. It wasn't so much the eggs, she thought, but more of the stunted potential of them. Their mystery was gone. They'd soon be covered in spicy Taiwanese barbecue sauce and slurped into Thomas's mouth. She looked at him and found him once again to be beautiful to her. There are worse places, she supposed, and then she kissed him there, on his mouth, where the eggs would soon be faded. A stoner sat a table away, with knotty hair and plates so piled with potential eating it could almost cause some envy, and told a story to his stoner friend about the time he went to China and how the shrimp came to the table live. And when I say live, he said, I mean as in still fighting. Hillary didn't have to strain to listen. His high had made his voice grow loud. I tossed one in the water, he said, and get this, man, it jumped right out. It wiggled off the table and started heading for the door. And I was like this. He curled his hand to a fist and raised it shoulder height. Go for the gold, little buddy. Hillary pictured the shrimp running for freedom, and she thought she too would cheer it on. She'd also, most likely, lift her feet from the ground to make sure it didn't skitter over her toes on the way. The man's friend stared at him, took his attention away from his boiling pot, and dropped a dumpling in so that it caused a splash that hit his arm. He felt the spot then, leaned back and said, "Ouch, there is potential for some pain in here." Just a few moments later, it seemed he forgot he had said anything at all, because he gestured to the steam and said, "There is potential to suffer harm." It's true, Hillary thought. There is always potential to suffer harm, unless all potential is stunted. By now, she was obsessed with Thomas's 2 plates of quail eggs. He pulled her chair over, so she sat closer to him then. He kissed her head, and she felt better. Still, she thought, 2 plates of eggs? 2 plates of such delicate things?